There's a funny comparison. I always think, when people talk about magic is just, science that we haven't discovered yet. I feel like it's a similar thing with like the idea of political miracles is just, it's just organizing explained by people who aren't organizers, right? Talk a little bit about your actual role, because I feel like people hear campaign manager a lot and kind of broadly know what the job is, and I will say I know for a fact when I was doing the job, it was nothing. There were just so many things that I never would have thought about. And I wonder if you can how would you sort of characterize your job?
I mean, the way I see my job is I work for our staff, and our entire staff works in service of our volunteers. That's it at the end of the day. And we have a great team. We have several hundred staffers on the ground. Most of them are organizers. Every single day, they're in service of the volunteers too. And the job is, at the end of the day, organized by listening, by sharing ideas, and making sure that people know these are the issues that are important. This is how we get them out there. Can
you talk to me a little bit about what is our sort of roadmap to victory?
So the best part of this campaign has been the fact that it's been rooted in very clear ideas about how Elizabeth wanted to run. A year ago, she decided, I'm going to run for president, I'm going to talk about plans, I'm going to talk about policies and issues that matter to people, and I want to organize, I want to focus the campaign on people. I want this to be a campaign that's in the service of volunteers and people every single day. The idea around it was we weren't going to spend the entire year driving around the country, flying around the country, along from Boston to New York to DC to Miami, across Texas and up the West Coast, and then maybe campaign and talk about issues along the way when you have time. That's how most campaigns are run. 70% of their time is spent raising money. For Elizabeth, she wanted to spend her time talking about issues and talking directly to voters, doing town halls, taking questions. So that was the theory for the case. We made a big bet that organizing matters, right? Like that talking to voters actually matters, and that grassroots organizations will beat billionaires any given day. The campaign decided the roadmap to victory is making sure that we win the primary. We win the primary by getting the 1,990 delegates needed to secure the nomination. 2, we beat Donald Trump. We make sure that we get this president, the worst president that this country's ever had, out of office by beating him through the Electoral College and through the popular vote. 3, we want to make sure that we're winning races and we're making friends along the way. We want to make sure we win the Senate back. We want to make sure that we expand the majority in the House. We want to make sure that we flip state houses around the country. These legislatures are so important on critical issues related to healthcare, the economy, but also redistricting. And then finally, we want to make sure that we campaign hard on the issues and the values that we care about, and we talk about these issues everywhere we go, so that when we win, we'll have a mandate. We put wind behind our own sails to make the change possible.
So a piece of that intentionality is, it's been very clear that you all have also been building for and had a plan for the general, right?
Oh, yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about what is the strategy there after we get past the primary? What are we doing to beat Donald Trump?
So this is probably the most compressed calendar that we've ever had in a primary. We made a bet that organizing mattered, and not just in the early states. We made a similar investment in the Super Tuesday states. In fact, we have staff and offices open in all 15 of the Super Tuesday states and territories. Beyond that, I think in total at this point, we have staff and offices in 30 states around the country. And these are states that are not only going to be helpful for us to win the nomination, but these are states where we're starting conversations early, where we have a presence early, where organizers on the ground early, developing relationships within those communities and battleground states that are going to matter, in November. You can't just build an organization overnight. You can't buy your way to the presidency, and you can't buy your way to a grassroots operation.
You've mentioned a couple of times that it's important that people are organizing in their own communities. Say more about that, because I think a lot of times we think about organizing, especially for presidentials, and it's just people descending upon the states that have the first 4, and then from there. But what does that mean to have people organizing in their own communities?
Yeah, I mean, it's all relational, right? It's all, I think the biggest endorsement that a candidate can get is from another voter's family member or friend, right? That's the beauty of the selfie line. Someone goes, they wait a few hours to go to an Elizabeth Warren event, they stick around, they listen to the speech, they ask questions, they take a photo afterwards. When they post that on their social media, people see it, their family sees it. It goes mini viral within their social networks. And that's the kind of validation I think that means a lot. that's how you build a movement. It's person to person, neighborhood by neighborhood.
We hear a lot of conversation right now about how we are going to unify the party. Is that a concern that we really need to be thinking about? And if so, how do you think we're going to be able to do that? And specifically, how is Elizabeth going to do it?
I mean, I think the way Elizabeth's approaching is by unifying the entire country around the issues that are important to working families. And whether you're a Democrat or Republican, if you've been to college, if you took out student loans, you're going to have student loan debt, and it's going to be something you're going to have to live with and work with. If you have kids, you're going to be dealing with childcare, right? If you are sick, you're going to need health care. These are things that are not Democratic or Republican or partisan issues. It's something that working families deal with every single day, and it's what keeps them up at night. So for us, for Elizabeth, it's about talking about these issues that matter. But at the end of the day, I think that Democrats are going to be unified. They're unified not just because they're angry with Donald Trump, because they want big structural change. They want to see, their lives change, not only for them, but for their kids and their grandkids. Why I believe Elizabeth Warren is going to be president. We need a president who's going to be able to get people excited.
Right.
And you get people excited about the issues that matter to them. You need a candidate that's going to be willing to work with everyone and not leave anyone behind. You need a candidate that's willing to campaign everywhere, talk to folks from all walks of life. And, honestly, I think a big part of it is making sure that we have a leader for the party who's going to work with the entire party, again, up and down the ballot to make sure we get Democrats elected in the legislatures, in Congress, in the Senate, in governor's offices. And Elizabeth, has already demonstrated that she's very committed to that. In 2018, she raised or donated $11 million to Democrats around the country, to every single one of the 50 state parties, to candidates, to the Democratic organizations. That's what it's going to take.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to be starting, so excited hearing about everything that you're talking about.
I'm excited too, yeah.
Yeah, I think this is going to be great. So really looking forward to continuing this conversation and many, many more.
Yeah, well, for those who want to get involved, we should tell them, text FIGHT to 24477.
Great. All right.
Did I get that right?
Okay, terrific. Well, thank you so much again for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roger.